Hey there, YouTube. Continuing my series on landmark dungeons, today I'm going to be playing Fraxston Keep as made by Jonas, and we'll see how that goes. I didn't read anything on the blurb for his dungeon. Perhaps I should have, in case there is something important about how it functions, kind of like the last dungeon, where if I hadn't read that, I probably would have been a tad perplexed as to what was going on and what my role in it was. I mean, believe me, I totally get there's monsters there and you kill them, but everything else was maybe a tad fuzzy. Fraxston Keep, solo dungeon, work in progress. Endless maze, old school pen and paper D&D style dungeon crawl. Okay, I'm into that. So clicking on that isn't telling me anything. Cellar attendant isn't telling me anything. This is definitely a wine cellar. Which they've got some nice ambience and some nice kind of flavor up here. Believe me, when I talk about dungeons, that is usually like the first and perhaps only thing I will talk about is what it looks like, and everything else will kind of be secondary. Good use of space. I mean, some people will make dungeons like super cramped, and just in terms of playing through it and things like that, you need a decent height ceiling and a decent space. So that still had nothing to tell me. Oh! Hello, friends! Have some fire sword! So I wasn't getting any, lore or information out of that floating book. Which maybe, he didn't set it up to do that or intend for it to do that. But I've got skeletons to kill. Oh, hey! I will freeze your souls. Will you now? Sounds neat. Ibengard Fireblade. That's good. I need to know how to make one of those. I got two guys shooting me there, but unless I'm mistaken, there was still a survivor back here. Or that might just be stuff respawning behind me. I don't honestly know. I'm gonna have to campfire, which I am loath to do. Then I'm a stingy kind of guy, so. This is a custom-made floor pattern. Oh yeah, you can count on me to commentate on the hard-hitting facts. I dig that. Yeah, that's just stuff respawning behind me, I think, unless I got turned around. But I don't think I did, so I better get through here before the sergeant respawns. So is that door going to automatically close behind me? So far it looks like no. I'm gonna say, I thought Scalewind, usually die in fewer hits than that. A lot of these combat encounters are kind of bleeding into each other. Which, I mean, isn't specifically a criticism for it's bad and it shouldn't be done like that. Like, no, it's just sort of... Is that lamppost healing me? Or was that... Because I don't remember dropping a campfire. I think that lamppost might heal me. Which is cool, but there are some things like that that you want to feel informed of. I don't know. Well, these are fairly... This is definitely a kind of encounter that has a very specific feel to it, where you're in a tight corridor and you got a whole mob of enemies staring at you. And there's definitely something to be said for that, but so far, pretty much every encounter has kind of been that same sort of way. And I think here's where we're starting to hit things under construction. I don't know. Something just tells me. I can just sense it. So, presumably he's working on that further ahead. I believe there was a juncture where I could have turned. Yeah, or I can go this way and see what we got that way. Surprise, surprise, the answer is things to kill. I just noticed that, or rather, I suppose I noticed earlier, but I might as well articulate now that he actually changed the stone textures from sort of that previous zone to where we're at now, which was certainly kind of a flavor transition of, you know, primarily barren enemies in this area with, you know, the more tan stonework to more of the Scalewind, I guess is what they're called in this. The Scalewind enemies in this area, except for, you know, a few barren. So that's 2 elites that they had right there, and a regular guy. I suppose doing videos like this, I'm going to have to think of actually clever and insightful things to say. And here we've got another stone texture change, which I like that. Particularly since it looks like it's shifting more towards Evengard in this area. It gives it kind of a, you know, a feel of zones, of areas. Now, so far, the corridor size, because, you know, this is pretty much just been corridors that we've been playing through. It would be nice if there was a little bit more variety in the shape of, you know, the areas you're fighting things in, but that's... God, this series is totally going to sound like me just talking trash on what people have made, and man, I hope nobody takes it like that. It's really not how I intended it. Anything I say here is just an examination of my preference, rather than, you know, an examination of your dungeon's quality. So if there's anything to take from what I have to say, I mean, take what you want and leave the rest. My opinion doesn't have to mean anything to you, and I'm totally down with both of us being okay with that. Because that's absolutely the difference. I mean, if I was playing some other game, it would have been made by a developer, by somebody who, you know, is being paid to do that, who is a professional, who is basically signing up to, you know, have people talk about and critique their game. But all these dungeons are just made by people who are doing what they love. Just kind of putting in the time and effort for, you know, just because they love it. So I am not here to shit on what you love by any means. I'm just kind of here to examine it. And that's not just a more polite word for shitting on it. Just take my opinion as a data point and, you know, do with it what you will. I'm totally not trying to tell nothing to nobody about nothing. Stabby stab. Because I'm just kind of dodging arrows. Yeah, sick arrow dodge, brah. I'm going to go ahead and kite you, because I probably can't take another hit. And yet, here I am. Still basically shooting arrows at you in melee. So maybe that's not the way to go. Sometimes you just gotta switch weapons to mix it up, you know. Because, yeah, the combat in Landmark can be a little monotonous. Where it's just, well, hold down left click to hit him with your fire sword. Because there's a right click for the Flamebound Bastion that is super cool and will explode fire outward to people when they hit the shield. But for the most part, I mean, it's really good AoE, so it's good if I've got, like, 3 guys hitting me in melee. Which, you know, I've had that exact situation in this dungeon and not used it, but yeah. So I should be using that more for flavor. And there is a chest, and there's been a change in lighting here. Which, oh! I thought for a sec that was a gargoyle trap. This is someone's room, and they don't have a door. And when I say room, it's kind of just a dead-end chunk of corridor that they have a bed in. I mean, whatever. You do you. You got bed curtains. Keg. Large wood. I guess you just gotta check the chests. I mean, the odds of there being something in there are pretty low, but yeah. Just for the sake of curiosity. Because right now I suppose they don't have a fantastic, like, setup loot for other players in your dungeon thing set up in Landmark. You can kind of just put out a chest or a series of chests with a random filter. Oh, hey guys! Seems like an ambush. Come on. Come on, hit me. I want you to do it. Boom! Face explosion. Oh dear. Another explosion. Okay, gonna try to duck around this corner, make him come to me. He doesn't seem to be coming to me. So we'll see if that AoE is out far enough to hit him. Oh, I'm healing, so I must have got out of combat. Or there's a healing zone. I don't know. The healing's been a little bit weird in this dungeon. Oh, those are 2 elites. That's why things have, that, you know, in terms of, like, balancing encounters, oh, I accidentally backed onto the teleporter. That one might have been a little brutal. Ow. 2 elites and 5 other guys, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty... I hate spending the lumens to revive, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I mean, I'm about as geared as you can really get in Landmark right now. I mean, as far as weapons go, the Flamebound Bastion, as far as I know, is kind of one of the most overpowered weapons. And that's what I'm rolling, and I'm rolling fire armor and 2 fire trinkets to go with it. Okay, these guys seem to just sort of be constantly respawning. This is kind of a gauntlet. So I'm going to have to kill things rapidly enough to move through here. Yeah, again, I'm totally not trying to criticize what anybody else has made, but you might want to adjust the respawn. I hit flee instead of revive. You may want to adjust the respawn timers for those guys, because that was just sort of a, I'm going to see how much of this I can just kind of rush through. That was a kind of... That was a brick in the face, is what that was. Hey guys, whoa, sorry, nope. Moving right along. Although that first, what I think feels like sort of a boss encounter, especially since it's like a shift from one area to the next, he's not respawning. So there may be something with the settings on that, along with some of the other mobs in this first section, except for that patrol guy. So this might not be... I mean, setting stuff up to reset on your claim is a trick. And it is the sort of thing that you basically have to set it up so if somebody like quits at any time and doesn't continue the sequence, that things will still reset anyway. And I've had a little bit of problems with that on my claim, where, you know, it's a beautiful sequence, you go through it and it resets behind you, but if somebody stops halfway, that could, you know, totally bork things. I don't remember fighting her before. I must not have come around this, you know, little section. She is another one that takes a lot of hits to kill. Then I think she was healing, so... Oh, goodness knees. Hope I didn't get turned around. I'm gonna go ahead and still just try to, like, sprint through this section to get back to where I was. Okay, I'm back to where I was. So, let's give this area another shot. Wow, this is more skeletons. Yeah, trying to run through that was probably a bad idea, but with how fast they're respawning, that just... And I hit the flee button again. And my armor's broken. With how fast they're respawning, I'm not sure what you're supposed to do besides just sort of run through them. You... How dare you? Did I respawn in a... No, I didn't respawn in a different area. But... This is a whole section behind me. Oh, he should totally have manacles holding him up. I bet that's what they were going for. But is he set up where if you click on him, he still does the animation? It'd be nice if you could disable that, because that kind of ruins the effect. Oh, what part of my gear got wrecked? I literally just made that Flame-Bound Curious. I literally just made it before I started doing these two dungeons. And my Flame-Bound Bastion is at 0. And... how's my bow doing? My bow's at 5%. So... And you know, that would be trivial, except I'm trying to save lumens to unlock all the recipes I need for what I'm building. So, yeah, that is still a little unforgiving. Man, that's the second dungeon in a row where I'm just like, well, I guess it's kind of beating me. There's something to be said for difficulty curves and whatever and stuff like this. Again, I'm not an expert in game design. I've just heard people talk about it. And this is under construction, so I'm not really sure there's an ending. So I will probably call this dungeon here, get my gear taken care of, and see you guys tomorrow in the next dungeon.